All right, thank you for joining me for a yoga and meditation class. We're going to do 20 minutes of gentle floor-based yoga followed by 20 minutes of relaxing meditation. You don't need any fancy yoga props for this class. All you need is a carpeted area or a yoga mat if you have one, but even that's not necessary. We're going to start by sitting up nice and tall. You can move your hips back, right and left, back and forth. You can roll your shoulders forward a few times. You can roll your shoulders forward a few times and backward a few times. And then just relax your shoulders. Lift your chest up slightly. Relax your jaw. Something on my chest. And there we go. Take a nice breath in through your nose. If it feels good, you can exhale through your nose or through your mouth. As you breathe in, feel your chest rise and your ribs expand. As you breathe out, let your shoulders fall. Slow inhale. Whenever you're ready, slow exhale. We'll start to connect our breath and our body. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Can reach up. Feels good, palms together. Exhale, pull your hands through heart center. Good, take your arms out. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up, big stretch up. Beautiful. Exhale, hands through heart center. Nice. Inhale, reach your arms up. Beautiful. Exhale, hands through heart center. Let your thumbs rest at your sternum. Press your palms together. Feel it for a moment. Feel your biceps engage. Good. You can interlace your fingers and push your palms out for a nice knuckle and wrist stretch. Drop your shoulders, lift your chin and chest, sit up nice and tall. Nice. And then release that grip. Take your arms down by your side. We'll continue to move with the breath with the body. On your next inhale, reach your left arm up and overhead. Keep in mind, I'm not mirroring you. And on your exhale, come back to center, float your left arm down. Good. Let's do the other side. Hey, sweet tea. Inhale, reach your right arm up. Lengthen, stretch. Breathe. And on your next exhale, come back to center, float your right arm down. Good. Inhale, left arm up, tilting to the right. Exhale, come back to center, left arm down. Good. Inhale, right arm up, tilting to the left, stretching right side body. Good. And exhale, right hand down to center. All right, we're going to come into tabletop position. So coming onto your hands and knees. If you have tight knees, you are welcome to roll up your yoga mat or place a small blanket underneath your knees, your toes, your ankles, anywhere that's a delicate joint, so there's a little extra padding there. You want your hands about shoulder width distance, wrists under shoulders, and knees about hip width distance, knees under hips. Back flat like a tabletop. We're going to cat-cow, rounding and bending our spine. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale through your nose, pull your abdomen in, drop your head down, round your spine like a cat, meow. So pull the abdomen in, push the floor away from you, slide shoulder blades, scapula apart. On your next inhale, cow pose, moo. You're going to stick your butt up, drop your abdomen down, send your gaze up towards the ceiling, roll your shoulders back and down, look up. On your next exhale, cat pose, meow, you're going to round your spine. So it's extension to the spine, compression to the abdominal wall, slide shoulder blades, scapula apart, chin to chest. And on your next inhale, lift your chin away from your chest, send your tailbone up towards the ceiling, look up for your cow pose, moo. So now it's extension to the abdominal wall, compression to the spine, squeeze shoulder blades, scapula together. Good, one more time. Exhale into your cat pose. At your own rate, inhale, cow pose. Exhale, neutral spine position, engage your core. Very nice. Next, we're gonna do a little shoulder opener spine twist. Keep your left hand on the floor. On your inhale breath, reach your right arm up, look up towards the ceiling, opening the chest and shoulders. Exhale, float your right hand down to the floor, wrist under shoulder. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reach your left arm up, look up. Exhale, left hand down to floor. Good. This time we're gonna thread the needle. Inhale, reach your right arm up, look up. Exhale, thread the needle, take your right arm underneath your left arm. Beautiful, right shoulder to floor, right ear to floor, hips over knees. Option to keep your left hand on the floor. You can also reach your left arm up, drape it behind you, reach for your right thigh with your left hand for a bind. Take a breath here. That looks so good. If your left arm is straight behind you in a bind, reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Place your left hand on the floor under your shoulder, push hand into the floor, and we're going to unthread the needle. Inhale, reach your right arm up, look up. Exhale, right hand down. Good, let's do the other side. Inhale, left arm up. There's no rush, look up. And as you're ready, exhale, thread the needle, take your left arm under right arm, left ear to floor, left shoulder to floor. You can keep your right hand on the floor or reach up and then reach behind you, reach for your left thigh with your right hand. Breathe. Your right hand is straight behind you, reach your right arm up. Take your right hand to the floor, under your shoulder, push down, unthread the needle. Inhale, reach your left arm up, look up. Good, exhale, left hand down. Beautiful. All right, spread your fingers wide, root down through your knuckles so that you're not putting all of your body weight on your wrists. Start to straighten your right leg behind you. You can flex your right toes back towards your face, square off your hips, so right hip down a little bit. Option to keep your right toes on the floor or lift your right foot off the floor. Option to stay here or lift your left arm off the floor. Thumb towards the ceiling, keep your neck long. Take a breath here. Good, float your left hand down, bend your right knee, right foot, right knee down, other side, lengthen your left leg. Flex your left toes back. Option to keep your left toes on the floor or lift your left foot off. Notice if your hip is lifting up, try to drop the left hip down. Option to stay here or really engage your core, root down through your knuckles and reach your right arm forward, thumb towards the ceiling, shoulders out of the ears, neck long. I did this on a little surfboard the other day. It's really hard. Okay, take your right hand down, left knee down. From here, keep your big toes together, open your knees apart for a wide-legged child's pose. We're going to sink our hips back and reach your arms forward. What do they call it? Yeah, paddle board. I tried doing some of this on a paddle board and I've seen people do it and I was like, that looks easy. And let me just say they make it look easy. It's very humbling even to try like child's pose on a paddle board. I fell off many times. Reach your arms forward, sink your hips back, keep your neck long. Inhale. Exhale. Gently lift your head, walk your hands in underneath you, press yourself up so that you're sitting upright. If you'd like to take a little back bend here, you can put your hands on your back, do a little back bend, looking up and back. Squeeze shoulder blades, scapula together, open through your heart space. Good. Come back to a spine neutral position. If you have your mat rolled up, you can unroll your mat and then lie on your abdomen. We'll do a little bit of spine work here. So we're going to start with our feet about hip width distance, tops of the feet resting on the floor. We're going to come into what's called Sphinx Pose. So bend your elbows so that your forearms are on the floor, hands and elbows about shoulder width distance. You can have your elbows directly under your shoulders for a deep back bend, or you can walk your hands forward so the elbows are in front of your shoulders and then you get that healing spine compression, but it's not like too intense. Good. Keep the shoulders out of your ears. Take a breath. Great, as you're ready, take your elbows out, your hands in, lower down, forehead to floor, reset your spine. Baby Cobra pose, lift your chin, place your hands on the floor below your shoulders, spread your fingers wide, keep your feet about hip width distance, press your feet into the floor, hands into the floor, look up and lift, shoulders out of the ears. You can stay here, or if you'd like to take it into full Cobra, you can think about lengthening your arms a little bit more, maybe even arms straight, shoulders out of the ears, look up. Good, and then slowly lower back down. Take your elbows out, hands in, forehead to floor, reset the spine. Great, look forward, bring your arms in front of you for our superhero pose. Palms facing each other, thumbs towards the ceiling. Keep your feet hip width distance. Point your toes, squeeze your glutes, start to lift your feet and hands off the floor. Eventually, maybe knees and elbows off the floor or thighs and chest off the floor. Take a breath here, point the toes. Good, and slowly lower down. This time you're going to take your arms out to the side For airplane pose, spread your fingers wide, keep your feet hip width distance, point your toes, squeeze your glutes, look up and lift. Palms face the floor. Spread fingers wide, point toes, looking up and back. Good, slowly lower down. Take your arms back behind you, thumbs face the floor, palms face in, point your toes, squeeze your glutes, look up and lift. Thighs and chest lift off the floor, lift your arms up, lengthen through your arms, keep your neck long, send your gaze up to the ceiling. Good, and slowly lower down. You can have your elbows out and hands in. Look to your left, right here on your mat. You can keep your hands close to your face, or if it feels good, you can bring your arms down by your side, palms facing up. Take a breath here. As you're ready, lift your head, look to the other side, other ear on your mat, and breathe. Good. Gently lift your head, look forward, put your hands on the floor under your shoulders, press yourself up. We're going to come back into a child's pose. Feet together, knees apart, sink your hips back, reach your arms forward, take a breath. As you inhale, feel the backs of your ribs expand. Exhale, feel your ribs gently contract. And then as you're ready, lift your head, walk your hands in, lift yourself up, sitting up nice and tall. Great, turn, lie on your back. We'll be on the back for the next part of class. Great, so lie on your back, keep your knees bent, feet on the floor, ankles underneath the knees, feet about hip width distance. Rotate your arms so that your palms face down. And then lift your hips slightly and bring your hands underneath your butt so your thumbs touch. Spread fingers apart, press your shoulders down. Keep your head on the floor. Without lifting your head, tuck your chin in ever so slightly so that your neck spine lengthens. Root down through your shoulders, knuckles, heels, and the soles of your feet. Squeeze your glutes, keep your chin in slightly towards your chest, and lift your hips up for a bridge pose. So lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Press your heels, palms, and shoulders down. Rather than opening your ribs, see if you can knit your ribs together. So squeeze ribs together as you look up and look down. Good, and then slowly lower your hips down. Figure four, keep your left foot on the floor. Lift your right foot off the floor, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So your legs make a four shape. Option to keep your left foot on the floor or lift your left foot off the floor, hug your thighs in towards your abdomen. Option to keep your hands on the floor. You can also grab the outsides of your feet or interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. Drop your shoulders, keep your hips on the floor, head on the floor, and you can tuck your chin in slightly to let your neck spine lengthen if that feels good to you. Keep your jaw relaxed. As you breathe here, think about breathing into the right hip. This is a nice hip opener. It's a good side seat stretch. We're also lengthening the lower back. This is an excellent posture for anyone who's ever suffered from sciatic nerve pain. The sciatic nerve is the longest nerve in our body. It goes from the lower back all the way into the foot. It's a really thick nerve. Your sciatic nerve is like as thick as your thumb, which is pretty wild to me, at least. And a lot of times it gets compressed in the lower back and then you feel like pain in your foot or in your leg. And so when we do this posture, we're stretching out the lower back and we're stretching out that nerve pathway down the thigh. So it's really great for decompressing the lower lumbar spine and opening up the hip and thigh. Release any grip you have from the backs of your legs. Bring your left foot to the floor, right foot to the floor. We'll do another bridge pose, palms face down. Bring your arms underneath you. Root down through your heels, shoulders, and palms. Chin slightly to chest. Squeeze your glutes and lift your hips up. Good. So think about squeezing the ribs together. Squeeze your glutes. Can you lift your hips up 1 more inch? Good. And then slowly lower back down. We'll do the other side of our figure four. Keep your right foot on the floor. Lift your left foot off the floor, cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Option to keep your right foot on the floor or lift your right foot off the floor, hugging thighs in towards abdomen. You can keep your hands on the floor. You can grab the outsides of your legs, or you can interlace your fingers behind your right thigh and pull down. You might notice that this side feels different from the other side. It does for me. We are not symmetrical.
Sometimes a byproduct of yoga is that we do even out a little bit, right? We become a little bit more flexible, a little bit stronger, a little bit more able to balance. But those are byproducts. The real goal of yoga is self-realization, right? Getting to know yourself better, community care, being able to care for those that you love. And someone even say God realization, this idea that there's divine within each of us. And as we get to know ourselves and our community better, we're better able to encounter the divine all around us, whether that's in our fellow humans or in nature, right? Release any grip you have from the backs of your legs. Slowly return your right foot to the floor, left foot to the floor. Once again, you're gonna wiggle your hands underneath you. It's also a great way to stretch out the wrists here. Press your heels down, bridge pose, lift your hips up. So maybe sending your hips up a little bit higher this time. Squeeze the glutes, knit the ribs together, press the shoulders down. Take a breath. Good, and slowly lower your hips back down. Happy baby. Keep your knees bent, lift both feet off the floor, flex your toes back towards your face. You can keep your hands on the floor. You can grab the backs of your hamstrings or knees. You can also catch your feet from the outside. So grab your feet from the outside. I like to have hands outside, elbows inside the knees. And from here, you can rock right and left. So you're rolling out your back muscles. Maybe as you roll to the right, you straighten your right leg, stretching the inner thigh. And then come back to center. And as you roll to the left, straighten the left leg, stretching the left inner thigh, and then come back to center. So you're going to roll out your back and also stretch the inner thighs. If you're rocking and rolling, can evenly do both sides. And then as you're ready, come back to center and just hold here for a moment. Keep your head on the floor. Think about drawing your knees down towards the floor on either sides of your shoulders. Inhale. And exhale. Release any grip you have from your feet or the backs of your legs. Place your hands outside of your knees. Bring your knees, feet together. Keep your knees bent. Relax your feet and draw your heels down towards your butt. You can place your hands on your knees or shins, or if it feels good, you can even interlace your fingers. And then once again, roll right and left, rocking out the back, especially on a Friday after a week, right? It's just good to kind of roll out the back muscles. Okay, and once you're even on both sides, if you're rocking and rolling, come back to center, squeeze your knees in, take a breath here. So we want to be able to breathe in every posture we do. From here, release any grip you have on your knees or interlace the fingers. Take your arms out to the side in a big expansive gesture. You can keep your arms long, or you can bend your elbows, cactusing them like goalposts. And you're going to start to roll to the left so that your right hip stacks on top of left hip. Draw your right shoulder down towards the floor. This is a spine twist. Option to keep your knees bent, legs stacked one on top of the other, or if you'd like, you can straighten your bottom leg towards the back of your mat and then kick your top leg to the left side of the room for an IT band stretch to the outer right thigh. You can keep the back of your head on the floor, or you can experiment with looking to the right, drawing your right ear down towards the floor, and then the whole spine is twisting. Keep your shoulders and hands soft. If you're looking over your right shoulder, gently bring your head back to center. If your top leg is kicked out, bend your top leg. If your bottom leg is straight, bend your bottom leg. And then we're going to roll back to center and then to the other side. Roll to the right, left hip on, I had to think about that. Roll to the right, left hip on top of right hip. Option to keep your knees bent and legs stacked, or straighten your bottom leg to the back of your mat. And then if it feels good, you can try kicking your top left foot out to the right. So again, you get this stretch on the outer left thigh. Draw your left shoulder down towards the floor so the chest is facing the ceiling. You can keep the back of your head on the floor, or you can play around with looking over your left shoulder, bringing your left ear down towards the floor. Again, keep in mind that this side might feel different from the other side. Inhale. And exhale, finding stillness and breath. If you're looking over your left shoulder, gently bring the back of your head to the mat. If your top leg is kicked out, bend your top leg. If your bottom leg is straight, bend your bottom leg so legs stack on top of each other. Roll your left hip back down to the floor. Keeping your knees bent, lift both feet off the floor, lift your head, tuck your chin into your chest. If it feels good, you can wrap your arms around your knees, maybe even grabbing elbows. Think about drawing your forehead towards your knees. You're a big ball here. Take an inhale, squeeze every muscle in your body. You can even make a funny face. Whenever you're ready, open your mouth. Exhale, release any grip you have from your legs, arms and legs down. Savasana. Relax your face. Let your head, hands, and feet be heavy. Now just take a moment to notice your breath. You don't need to force the breath in any way. It doesn't have to be particularly like a deep breath or a long breath. Just observe how your body rises and falls. There's billions of people around the world. All of us are breathing. Some of us are taking our first breaths. Some of us are taking our last breaths. Most of us are somewhere in between. And right now, with billions of people breathing around the world, it's interesting to think that breath is an automatic function. We don't have to think about it. And that's a good thing, right? It would take up a lot of our mental capacity if we had to focus on breathing. And at the same time, observing the breath is a really powerful tool of coming back into the present moment, not thinking about what's about to happen or what happened earlier today. Observing the breath, just noticing how the body rises and falls. There's billions of people breathing right now, and the vast majority of them have no idea that they're breathing. They're not thinking about their breath. Some of them don't even know that a practice like this exists. But you figured it out. You figured out a way to come into your breath, to return to your body, and to appreciate how the body moves with every breath. So you're not forcing or fighting, just enjoying this moment for what it is. As you inhale and exhale. Cultivating awareness is a privilege that not everyone has, but it's a privilege that we have today. We've carved this time out for ourselves today. So as we transition into a meditative space, you are welcome to continue to lie on your back. Or if it feels good, you can mindfully roll over to one side and make your way into a seated position. For the sake of the meditation, you can have your eyes closed. You can do a soft, fuzzy gaze beyond the tip of your nose. Or if it feels good, you can focus on a spot on the ceiling or on the floor or wall in front of you that helps you anchor into the present moment. There's no such thing as a good meditator or a bad meditator. There are simply people who meditate and people who do not. And for the sake of today, you were meditating. So good for you. Take away any judgment or concern about if you're doing it right or wrong. You're here. That's all that matters. I'm now going to light a candle as a symbolic gesture that we're entering into a more intentional space. Being intentional with our breath, intentional with our body movements,
intentional with our thoughts and feelings. If at any point you find that your mind is looping through a certain thought, or there's a feeling in your heart or on your spirit that's weighing a little heavy, you are welcome to observe that thought or feeling. Read it with compassion rather than judgment. And then if it's not serving you, you might practice letting that thought or feeling go, keeping in mind that it's a practice, not a perfect. Return your thoughts to your breath. And you don't need to force the breath in any way. Same way you don't need to force your mind or your body or your heart or your spirit. It's just observing, right? Especially these days, tend to run around a lot, find ways to stay busy. And sometimes it can almost be jarring when we just slow down and breathe. And for some folks, this might be the only intentional time that we have in a day, just to be still and breathe. I'm just going to give us a minute here just to enjoy your own company. All sorts of things happen when we give ourselves a moment to be still and breathe. You might have felt anything from relief and deep relaxation to boredom to even anxiety of, am I doing this right? Sometimes in stillness, we have profound realizations. Other times we go a little bit blank. And again, there's no right or wrong. Just an opportunity to observe and notice what comes up. Maybe with a consistent meditation practice, notice if there's anything that repeatedly comes up. And again, you just turn towards that with compassion rather than judgment. Give us another minute to be still and breathe. In a meditation practice, we often cultivate stillness or silence or peace or joy. I also like to think that meditation can be used for cultivating creativity and imagination. many different meditation practices, and today I will offer a creative and joyful meditation practice that I call my favorite place meditation. So bring to your mind's eye your favorite place. It can be a real place that you've been. It can be something you've seen on a magazine or in a screensaver or on television. Or if you'd like, you can even make up a favorite place. And you might have several options about places to think of. And some folks even experience anxiety over picking the right place to meditate on. But remember that this is a practice you can come back to at any time. So just pick a place that makes you feel happy, joyful, peaceful, at ease. Now imagine that you start to pull into or enter into this sacred space of yours. That might be by walking, flying, bicycling, swimming, boating, driving. You can imagine how you get to your favorite place, whether it's a cabin in the woods or a nice sandy beach by the ocean. Imagine yourself coming into this space. Just observe what sensations come up in your body. Maybe if it's a sense of excitement, for example, where do you feel that excitement? Or if it's a sense of nostalgia, where do you feel that nostalgia? Starting to notice not just what you're feeling or how you're feeling, but where you're feeling it. As you enter into this favorite space, what do you see? You can look up and down, side to side, behind you, in front of you. Maybe you notice tall pines overhead or white sand underfoot. What do you hear in your favorite place? Maybe a gentle breeze, or creaking floorboards, or a favorite song. What do you smell in your favorite place? Sea salt or must or flowers. Are there any tastes that you associate with your favorite place, whether that's a good meal or drink, or maybe just the air on your tongue? And what other sensations you associate with this place, whether it's gravel under your shoes, maybe water cupped in your hands. Imagine yourself walking around this space, just observing and enjoying. And as you walk through it, if there's any different sounds or smells or sensations, take your time moving through this space, especially if it's maybe a place that you haven't been in a while, or a place that you're creating or imagining. Notice maybe what surprises you as you move through the space. And find an area, maybe your favorite area within that space, or just a place that feels good to you in this moment, to either stand or sit or lay down. And if there are certain people or events that you associate with this space, you are welcome to stay there on your own, or if it feels good, you can invite others into this space, whether it's friends or family, or maybe strangers. Or you can be by yourself for a while. And just notice what's coming up for you, any feelings that you might associate with this favorite place. And again, not just what or how you're feeling, but where in your body you're feeling it. And if there's anything that you would like to say to this space, whether it's just a simple thank you, to share a memory or acknowledgement, take a moment here. If it feels good to stay in this space for longer, you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Otherwise, imagine yourself slowly getting up in your mind's eye and at your own pace, leaving this sacred space, knowing that it is yours to come back to, whether in your mind's eye or, virtually, spiritually, or literally, physically, or maybe just again in another meditation. It's amazing what we can remember, or what we feel, or what we realize when we just take a moment to slow down and fully immerse ourselves, whether it's in a favorite space or with a favorite group of people, a song, or a shared meal. These are all meditative, contemplative practices if you want them to be. Take an inhale, feel your body rise. If it feels good, exhale through your mouth. You're welcome to stay in this meditative space for as long as you'd like. Otherwise, I will count us down from 3, at which point you're welcome to move your body or open your eyes in a way that tells your body that you're shifting gears. Breathing in. Let it go for 3, 2, 1. You can stay in this practice for as long as you'd like. I'm going to blow out this candle as a symbolic gesture that our official meditative time has come to an end. And I'm letting the very real smoke clear the air as a reminder that when we take time to just sit with ourselves, we literally change our relationship with the space around us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. It's always good to practice with you. Hope to see you soon. Friends.